Economy is a WCET project in partnership with the Greater Cincinnati Center for Economic Education at the University of Cincinnati. Producing Ohio is made possible by a generous grant from the Ohio Educational Telecommunications Network Commission in support of the Ohio SchoolNet Initiative. Every year in the United States, we consume billions of gallons of milk, water, soft drinks, and juice. With that much liquid flowing into the beverage market, competition among beverage producers is intense. Luckily, we consumers benefit from the intense competition because it drives producers to research our demand, develop new and improved products, and do whatever it takes to get their product into our hands. In 1989, Procter & Gamble purchased a Florida-based juice drink called Sunny Delight and transformed it into a national competitor in the beverage market. As the North American brand manager for Sunny Delight, Steve Breen knows the major role competition has played throughout the history of the product.
Sunny Delight was first launched or created in 1964 in Florida, and it was one of the first juice drink beverages to be created and also the first one that was in plastic. Normally, most of the beverages at that time were in glass. In 1989, Procter & Gamble decided to buy Sunny Delight. P&G at that point saw the potential in the brand by getting it nationally distributed and then also by backing it with strong marketing support and sales support. We also saw the ability to use a lot of our beverage technologies that we had at the time and apply them to the Sunny Delight business. So in 1989, we bought the brand and it became a Procter & Gamble brand. Then in 1995, we introduced a new flavor. Up until that point, Florida style was the only style that was available. We introduced California style in 1995. California style ended up really doubling the business because it appealed to a new set of tastes that people had. Procter & Gamble's also been able to use a lot of our national reach to get the product into virtually every grocery store and club store across the U.S. We've also recently taken the product up to Canada and are now expanding it across Europe as well. The beverage market is one of the most competitive markets in the world. If you think about the number of video game manufacturers that you can think of maybe 4 or 5 major ones. Now think of the number of beverages that you can choose from, and literally there are hundreds and hundreds out there. Every day we're trying to get kids to choose Sunny Delight over those hundreds of other alternatives. It's important that Sunny Delight be different than our competition because it gives kids and people a reason to choose Sunny Delight. If all of the beverages in the world were the same, then kids wouldn't really care what beverage they had. So by being different than our competition, it gives kids a real reason to choose Sunny Delight over all the other things that they could choose. Competition certainly forces us to continue to look for ways we improve our products, but generally where we find those ways to improve it is by really getting to know and talking to our consumers, and then we let them lead us in terms of really answering their needs. We're then better able to meet those needs versus us just blindly following whatever our competitors do. Sunny Delight targets households with kids between the ages of about 8 and 15. Sunny Delight targets kids predominantly to make sure that they think the beverage is cool, and also because they're the ones who love the taste and they're the ones who really gain us entry into the household. But we also target moms to make sure that she knows Sunny Delight exists and also that it's good for her kids based on its vitamins and also the calcium version, which has as much calcium as milk. Since Sunny Delight was purchased by Procter & Gamble in 1989, we spent an incredible amount of time and money really getting to know households with kids. Based on that understanding, what we've been able to do is significantly improve the advertising, really improve Sunny Delight's in-store presence. Then we've also been able to add some new flavors and continue to add new flavors, which have made Sunny Delight the #1 chilled juice drink in America.
Competition encourages companies to improve their existing products and develop new ones. But first, they must identify the demand of their potential consumers. By identifying demand, companies have a better chance of creating or maintaining a successful product. Susie Mills is the principal scientist in juice product development for Procter & Gamble, and she researches consumer demand for Sunny Delight.
It's important for P&G to identify consumers' needs and desires because we want to improve the lives of our world's consumers. It's part of our mission statement. And forcing them to, in my case, to drink something they don't want or need or desire is not the way to go there. And trying to identify an individual's needs and desires, we actually try to get into their world. This could be that we go shopping with them. This could be that we go into their homes. If they're in school, we try to go inside the schools or whatever activities they're doing. For example, when Gatorade invented the sports bottle, they did that by actually going and watching people work out. And they realized that people needed something to drink during the workout. As far as types of research, you can look at, there's two big buckets of research. One we call qualitative, and this is where you just go talk to folks or you observe them. Another bucket is called quantitative, and this is where you actually survey hundreds to thousands of people where they answer questionnaires, much like a test in school. We can also get data like that from the marketplace. So sometimes grocery stores are set up that when you scan stuff you buy, it goes into a database that we can access and see what people are doing out there in the real world. Competition, as far as affecting demand for Sunny Delight, can be a good thing or a bad thing. If all the fruit drinks out there are doing a lot to be where consumers are and getting people to want fruit drinks, that's a good thing for Sunny Delight because all of us benefit. However, if you're trying to break into somebody's beverage routines, that's where competition gets very tough. Most beverages out there are of high quality and they taste good. So that's where preference comes into play, is where you're trying to taste better than the other beverages out there. Packaging is very important to consumers, and in the case of beverages, it's part of the drinking experience because you're either pouring the beverage from the package or you're actually putting it to your mouth. So how the package handles, how easy is it to get the cap on and off, how easy is it to drink out of it if you're drinking out of the package, does the package look appealing, make you want to drink the beverage, as far as does the beverage look refreshing coming through the package, can you see the beverage through the package. Image can be very important. Someone once said that sometimes taste is more of the head than it is of the stomach or the mouth. If you're going to be in research, you never know what a day will bring, and you don't know the answers in the back of the book. It's like being a detective going into this big black hole and trying to get all these clues and put it all together and come out with an answer.
Once they've identified the demand of their consumers, producers will attempt to innovate to make their products stand out from the competition. Robert Lewis is the Associate Director of Juice Product Development for Procter & Gamble. Every day, he engages in innovation as he develops products like Sunny Delight.
Product development is the combination of things. It's understanding what the consumer really wants. It's understanding the packaging experience that consumers want to have. It's understanding how we're going to deliver those products at a fair market value to consumers. And it's also understanding what we have to do to maintain the safety of the products for consumers during the whole period of use. Once a product is in the marketplace, its development has really just begun. You've now laid down the initial benchmark for consumers, and that sets their expectations for the long haul. But what has to happen from that point on is you've got to continue to meet consumers' expectations, which we know continue to change over time. Our innovation on the Sunny Delight brand is really focused on a couple of areas. One is just the quality of the product, making certain that when consumers buy this product on a day-in, day-out basis, that they're getting what they've come to expect from Sunny Delight. Two, we've innovated on the flavor front, and that is making certain that consumers, when they go search for Sunny Delight, are able to find the kinds of flavors they would expect to find. And we've added California style, which is a huge innovation in terms of giving a very different flavor profile for the business, as well as added a number of different packaging initiatives to make the product easier for the consumers to use. And then we've also done a lot of work on the nutritional profile of the product, most notably adding calcium. Competition has a tremendous impact on product development. It really establishes what the true market demand is, what consumers really expect, because our competition might get out there before we do and establish a benchmark for us to shoot at, and then we've got to decide how we're going to participate. Are we going to try to deliver something that's the same, We're going to try to deliver something that's better. It really causes us all to do a better job of meeting consumer needs. The main difference between individual demand and market demand is the customer that you're targeting in that particular situation. Individual demand is all about pleasing the individual consumer. That is, when you go to the store and you buy, you're the individual in the individual demand equation, so I've got to meet your needs. But the other piece that has to be recognized is that before the consumer gets it, we have to meet market demand, and by market demand we're typically talking about what does the trade, like a Walmart or Kroger's, what is it that they want, and making certain that we're able to meet the needs that they have as well, because they have a role to play in the whole supply chain for consumers. It's interesting who pays for product development. It's an answer that most people wouldn't think about, and the answer is it's the consumer. It's the person that actually buys the product. Embedded in the price that you spend for a product is our profit. And from that profit, our senior management decides how much money they're going to spend to advertise the product, how much money they're going to spend to manufacture the product, and how much money they're going to spend on product development. So it's actually the consumers.
Consumer demand can be identified, and innovation can lead to new or improved products. But there's still a lot of competition out there in the beverage market. Companies like Procter & Gamble have to find ways to market their products to consumers. Through marketing, global brand manager Lauren Honig hopes to make consumers aware of Sunny Delight and encourage them to buy it.
People have different definitions of marketing. In the broadest sense, it's understanding what people want, developing products that fit those needs, and then letting them know that those products exist and fulfill the needs that they have. Market segmentation is taking the marketplace and dividing it into groups of consumers who have similar interests or characteristics. Some of those characteristics can be physical, like their demographics, who they are in terms of gender, age, household income. Some of them are attitudes, what they believe about certain things, and then others are habits and practices, what they like to do with their time, what they buy, where they shop. Sunny Delight is marketed to two different consumer segments. One segment is tweens, which are folks from the ages from 8 to 13, and another segment is parents of folks who are 8 to 13. And we do that several different ways. We do consumer research to understand what those two groups want in a beverage. Then we have to understand what the priorities are between those wants and needs, because sometimes they're not the same. And finally, once we've made decisions, we communicate back to those different groups using different methods about the product. Distinctive characteristics of Sunny Delight that appeal to tweens are definitely taste. If it doesn't taste good, it doesn't matter about the rest. After that comes things like packaging. On-the-go sizes are really important for kids who have very active lifestyles. And then entertaining marketing is very important too. Kids want to laugh at commercials. They want to go to events that are sponsored by brands that are fun or that allow them to do things that they like to do, like sports. And separately, parents are very interested in knowing that their kids love something when they buy it. They don't want it to just sit in their refrigerator and not be used. After that, they're really interested in knowing that it's something that they can feel good about buying for their kids, that it has nutrients or vitamins or something that makes it a little bit better for them than other choices that are out there. Price is almost always important for consumer packaged goods, and it's important for Sunny Delight. We're always very careful to make sure that our price stays in line with the value equation that consumers have for our product, or in other words, that the price stays in line with the value that they see for Sunny Delight. We measure the effectiveness of our marketing in many different ways. Before we even create something like a TV commercial, we'll go and talk to the target, so call it tweens, understand what they think is funny in commercials, what's entertaining. Then once our agency writes boards and scripts, we'll often screen those with tweens to see if those screens and scripts are actually communicating what we think they should and the tweens are enjoying them. Then finally, once we have a commercial fully made, we'll often test that with kids to understand if they're getting the messages that we're trying to communicate and if it makes them feel good about asking for the product. The thing that I like the most about my job is the opportunity to understand what tweens are thinking, what they like, what they don't like, what's cool, what's not cool. It keeps me definitely feeling young, and I really enjoy talking with them. They always have a neat perspective, and it's really great.
After identifying demand, innovating, and marketing, it's time for beverage producers to face the competition. They distribute their products to stores, and the success or failure of those products will depend on whether or not they have met the demand of consumers. Mindy Thompson is the Associate Director of North American Food Products for Procter & Gamble, and she works on the distribution of Sunny Delight.
When I say we have distribution on Sunny Delight, it means that you can find the product in that location. So for instance, when you go to the grocery store and you see Sunny Delight in the chiller, that means we have distribution there. When you go to a gas station and you find it there, that means we have distribution. You can find Sunny Delight all over the place. We have distribution at grocery stores, at convenience stores like a 7-Eleven, at gas stations. Sometimes you can find us at places like a movie theater or a health club. Somebody wouldn't carry Sunny Delight or wouldn't have distribution on Sunny Delight if we didn't make it easy for them to get the product. We try to make sure that it's easy for all places to carry Sunny Delight. The only way that they probably wouldn't carry the brand is if we didn't make it convenient for them. So if they're located in an area that's not close to where we make the product at one of our factories, it's our job to make sure that we make it easy to get it there, whether we deliver it on a truck, we ship it to them, but we make sure that they have a way to get the product. Most stores don't purchase Sunny Delight directly from the factory, and that's because even though we have 5 factories located across the country, it's not convenient for them to have to drive all the way to a factory to pick up the product. So we'll either ship the product to another location that is convenient for them to pick it up, or they'll go ahead and ship directly to the stores. We also have places that we call distribution centers. Distribution centers are where we ship the product, we hold it there, and then stores from all over different locations near there can either pick up the product or we can ship from there. Distribution affects competition because whoever makes it easier to get to their product creates more demand. So for instance, if it's easier for you to get a soda every place you go than a Sunny Delight, you'll probably make that choice. Competition can affect distribution of Sunny Delight when they introduce new items. The chiller only has a set amount of space, so if we have this much space in there and they need that much of it for their new items, we might lose some of our space or distribution because of new items that they're bringing in. Innovation definitely affects distribution because it's what creates new and exciting things that people want to try. For example, you used to only be able to get milk in a gallon jug. When they came out with those little bottles that you could just grab and go with, that completely affected distribution because that was an item that most places started to carry. Marketing affects distribution by creating demand. So when you see an ad on Sunny Delight and you decide it's something that you want and you head to the store and you can't find the product and you ask the manager where the product is and he eventually brings it in, that could create distribution for us. I think I like best about my job that I get to affect what happens to Sunny Delight in the future. What it looks like, what it tastes like, how we market it, how we distribute it. It's exciting.
So the next time you reach for a glass of milk or water or soft drink or juice, think about how that beverage is satisfying your demand. Find out if the product is new or improved, and ask yourself why you picked that beverage over its competitor. Then take a sip and enjoy the benefits of markets and competition.